let's begin with this. Who's the IWC? Are you the IWC? Am I the IWC? Are we part of it? How does it work? You define it for us.
Well, for me personally, I think it's just anyone who discusses wrestling on the internet. Now, the term comes with certain connotations, which I don't necessarily think you or I fall into, but that's an entirely different thing. That's more of the extremist form of the IWC, I feel.
I do have to ask this now. Do you have any experience as a professional in the wrestling industry at all?
No.
Now, see, this is one of the best things for me, is because, unfortunately, the loudest voices tend to be the ones that complain, and are also a lot of times the ones that are wrong. I think it's great that we remind people that there are fans, people who are not in the business, who are just regular fans, who understand how this stuff works. And I especially think for those people out there, if you're going to play armchair booker, play it right.
People can't take criticism anymore. People essentially think that anything that you have to say that's negative about a wrestler or a promotion, they automatically take it as an attack on them. So then you find issues with hostility. When you start taking everything personally, you start to attack people for having opinions. And then if I post something online and I say, for example, I wasn't a fan of this spot, I will suddenly have people come into my comment sections to say, you know, horrible things that have nothing to do with the spot simply because they're offended. I think that it very much encourages tribalism a lot more, people just attacking people for not liking things. I think that you're encouraging a lot more hate in the community by taking things so personally, and it's just not really a good environment to foster, if I'm honest.
Any horrendous comments or replies out of left field? What was the zaniest response you've had? I'm sure you have gotten some truly outrageous comments. What's one that sticks out in your head throughout your time?
Okay, there's a series of them.
Hit me.
I'll walk you through. I posted something once about Brandon Cutler. I'm not sure if you were around when that happened, but it was only like, a month ago. I posted something when he posted that thing about CM Punk gaslighting people. I said essentially, why is he speaking on this, risking the biggest draw that company has, etc., etc. Didn't say much. As a result of that, I got a page that decided to troll me incessantly. They went down every single of my recent posts. They told me to kill myself several times. This went on for about 3 days. They eventually decided to rebrand their page. They got my current profile photo at the time. They posted that as their profile photo. They then advertised the page as being me. They changed it to my Twitter name, pretended to be me, and said something about selling pics or posting private pics or something like that. So it turned into a whole big thing, and eventually I just started ignoring it and it stopped. But that was probably the craziest one I've had. Increasingly now too, I'm getting people just posting random screenshots of my profile and saying, why does this person keep popping up on my page? And whenever I see it, I just say, you're interacting with me. That's why I'm popping up. Are you dense? Like,
yes,
do you not know how algorithms work? That's how the algorithm works. Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's just stuff that becomes obsessive.
Right.
That's the worst.
And I do remember this, and that's actually the reason I started following you in the first place. Because of the CM Punk thing, because I think there is a big divide between the AEW and WWE, which I find crazy, especially since most people are watching both of them, or at least keeping a familiar running tag on both of them. More people watching WWE than the other way around, but most of your AEW fans are still at least aware of what's going on in WWE if not watching it. And I've said the exact same thing, so a lot of times I saw you saying things I know I've said before, I'm like, oh look, someone else gets it. So I was like, finally, somebody else out there who understands where I'm coming from.
Pages designed solely, and I mean solely, to attack people. And it's always under an anonymous thing. It's always never positive. It's always just to rouse a bunch of people to attack someone. And you guys would know the pages I'm referring to. I'm not going to give them attention, but those sort of pages, to me, you're fostering an environment where it's like children in a creche. You're just allowing them to chuck tantrums. They're clever about getting around the Twitter things about targeted harassment, I'll say that.
Have you found any page that's dedicated to being positive about anyone? Does that exist? And I'm not talking about those psychotic fans who have an unhealthy crush on someone. That's not positive. No. I mean, actually, like, genuinely good.
No.
See?
Not on Twitter, anyway.
Not one. Not one. Not one. I think that's weird.
And quite frankly, one promotion does not need to die to benefit the other. That's just not the way it is. WWE is thriving right now. AEW is thriving right now. In many ways it is. They just did Wembley. They've got their ticket sales are really going well. You can make the discussion about ratings, but whatever. They're doing well. So both companies are existing. And why do we need to focus so heavily on hating every single thing about one promotion, or attacking people for enjoying a promotion, or even questioning? This is something I get a lot, like, why don't you criticize WWE? I do criticize WWE. So we're assuming that people have this outright hate towards and this prejudice towards a promotion simply because we feel attacked by something they've said. I think that people just need to get over it, quite frankly. I think that people need to realize that both brands are going to exist, and that's okay. And if you're someone who is going to blindly hate on one, just don't watch it. Why put energy into it? Like, what's the point? So that's one thing that annoys me, the promotional tribalism.
The big question mark for me, though, is that I don't understand how people don't realize it's not really direct competition. I mean, it was when it was NXT going against Dynamite, sure. But as a whole, it's like it doesn't really make a difference. It really doesn't matter. And even in those cases, the Monday Night Wars, they thrive. Both WCW and WWE thrive. So it's really not that way. And I remember hearing it all the time. People saying, oh, AEW's going to put WWE out of business. And I said, how? In what universe is that going to happen? No matter how well AEW does, it is not going to tank a publicly traded company.
No, it's not. It's like, not a reality.
A lot of fans don't seem to understand the business side of things, or don't take into account ratings and money. And with that being said, and going back to the Brandon Cutler thing, I kind of would like to say, so what's your stance on CM Punk? Let it out.
Oh, you're going to get me cancelled, mate. All right. Punk, I think they need him. I think that the product has been significantly less interesting without him. I think that Punk is a good storyteller. I think that he is someone who can go in the ring, but his whole personality is not, I wrestle good. I think that in terms of this situation with the Elite, and this has gotten me a lot of heat in the past, I think that they need to suck it up. Quite frankly, if there's someone in the business that is drawing you all that money, suck it up. Your management, you need to get over it. That's my stance, essentially. They need to get over it, bring him back. He's necessary to the business.
Can you tell the story about a certain picture you received?
So that wasn't the first time that I've done that, you know.
No, I did not know that was not the first time you did that. The reaction I thought was hilarious.